Hey. What's going on, people? It's your boy Brandon Brevon Towns, host of that show that comes on every now and again called Sports Plus Life. So cut it all the way off. Boy, it's been another minute. Taking another extended vacation. But nevertheless, I'm here today. And I do feel bad as far as me not being as doing the show as much as I used to. But don't worry, because all of those things will change real soon. You know, everything comes with time. So anyway, it is again your boy Brandon Brevon Towns. This is that show called Sports Plus Life. If I have any listeners left, or if I get any new listeners, please don't hesitate to hit that subscribe button and become part of the Sports Plus Life family. Boy, do we have so much stuff to tackle. We do. We definitely, this is the first time that I've said anything since football season. We got basketball season that's about to pop off in the next week and a half. We have the League Championship Series in Major League Baseball. Oh, what a time for sports. I freaking love the fall. Oh, my goodness. Now, before I get started on the sports, I'm going to kind of switch it up. I'm going to start with a life topic first. But, hey, I got to say this. It is Wednesday. Even though y'all might not get this till Thursday. Between October 16th and October 17th, 2019. You know, we coming up on a year of this show. That is so dope. But I had to definitely get that one in. So, you know, before I get into the sports, I'm definitely going to get into the life, because I've got so much sports to cover, so much stuff to cover. By the time I get to around the life section, I might not have any damn saliva left, for real. So, as I said the last time that I did a podcast, I've definitely been making some changes in my life just to try to have growth, you know, spiritual growth, financial growth, just growth as far as being a better person all around, because that's what it's all about. And I'll say this to anybody who would be gracious enough to listen. You may hear some choice words come out of my mouth, because I'm just being me. People have no idea how much of a comfort zone I'm in right now just doing this. But one thing that has happened and that will continue to happen is that I said this last time, I have since gotten to getting baptized, and I just want to let any and everybody know that, you know, God is wonderful and God is everything, and God will definitely be there to provide for you. And definitely, I'll tell anybody, keep the faith. And basically what I'm getting at is, you know, we all as individuals, have done things, have made the wrong choices in life, straight up. To put it quite bluntly, as human beings, as adults, we have all made decisions in our life that was fucked up. All the way fucked up. And if you're a person who is trying to grow and move past things and start a new path, and just, you know, I don't know if I want to say the word redemption or whatever, but just put those things behind you, have a change as a person, you know, that's great. And I would strive anybody who's ever gone through any type of trials and tribulations, no matter what it is, to do so. And no matter what, you're gonna run into people who kind of are stuck in square one or square two, but just, you know, have a problem with moving forward, or just throwing salt on your game, because unfortunately we run into people who are just unhappy in general. No matter what happens, there's always something to complain about. You know, I've done things in my life that I wish that I could take back. You know, I've done things in my life that were wrong, you know, and no matter what, it's happened. It's happened, and there's nothing I can do to change that other than just try to rectify the problem. Like I've said on shows before, I'm not going to judge anybody on mistakes that they've made. And instead, I'm just going to look at what you do to rectify the problem, to correct the mistake, and that shows growth and that shows maturity as a person. So that's what I'm looking at, but that goes into, what type of circle do you have? What type of circle are you hanging around? Because one thing about change, and I've said this before, when people really change, they have to change everything around them and about them. If you're hanging around the same group of people when you weren't doing the right thing, it might not go over with the people it might not go over well with the people that you're hanging out with who's not doing the right thing. I don't care what it is. I'll give an example. If you're an alcoholic and you're trying to stop drinking, if you're going to continuously hang out with a bunch of alcoholics who want to drink all the time, that's going to defeat the purpose. And sometimes when you change and you're not doing things to the agenda of those that you've been around the most, or that are just used to pretty much you doing things a certain way, particularly if it has their best interest in mind. I'm not talking about the person who's trying to change. I'm talking about the person who's just pretty much getting what they want from the person who's trying to change. Those type of people aren't happy about your change. They're really not. They say they are, but their actions and their attitudes show something totally different. And those are people that I'm just not that if you're really trying to go forward, sometimes you have to separate yourself from. Doesn't mean that you don't love them, doesn't mean that you don't care about them, but I'm like, I'm trying to get to this level, and you're still stuck on this level, and you still want to bring up and throw in my face things that happen or things that I have done to kind of just remind me, you're still that same person, when the fact of the matter is I'm not. I'm the same person if I fall back into that shit. You know what I mean? Like I said, I've done things in the past that have been wrong. I've done things that I wish that I could take back, but the only thing I'm trying to do is just learn from it, to not make those same mistakes. And, and not just speaking about myself, but in general, if you're continuing to do that, but you keep on being, things keep on getting brought up and you keep on getting told about situations that happened way back when, you're never gonna really make true progress, because at the end of the day, you're still stuck in the past. You still haven't changed the channel from yesterday. There's still a grudge holdingness about you, that is honestly progressing you from moving forward yourself, or trying to keep the other person who's moving forward from doing so. And, I don't think that's right. And but it's up to the person who's trying to change. How serious are they? Because if that's the case, then, you will kind of go on a different path. And really, that's at the point that I am in my life now, is that, I'm just trying to. There are things that I could definitely improve on, because I understand that this is a marathon and not a sprint. But sometimes, and it's, I don't want to say it's a shame, but that it's taken a little over 35 years for me to get this mindset. And it's not just of dealing with other people. It's about dealing with finances, spiritual growth. It might have taken over 35 years for me to truly get to this place of peace. But, better late than never. Better late than never. And I feel like I'm on the right path, and I'm trying to do everything the right way. And, one thing that I've been steadfast on and unapologetic about, there are only, 3 people in my life that I, am really obligated to take care of, and it is my wife and my kids. And it doesn't mean that I won't help anybody else, but that's my main focus, and also getting my own self right, but I won't, I just want everybody, when they're trying to change, when they're doing the right thing, when they've taken another path, and taking a new journey, a more positive journey, every now and again, there likes to be, everybody likes to hear some type of acknowledgement. You know, not meaning that your job is done, because of course there's always room for improvement. But some acknowledgement that, hey, I know you're trying, but hey, we can step up the game here, and I don't see anything wrong with that. So, but it's me personally. I really don't want any negativity in my circle, and because I'm the type of person, I love everybody, but I can't really deal with that many people anymore, because at least in the circle that I was dealing with, because it's always something. And, at 36 years old, I want to live life. I want to live life. I want to enjoy life. I don't want life to live me. I want to live life, not just be a survivor. Love the song, but that's my focus, my goal in life. And I love my family, all of my family, but there's a point in time where I have to, consider my own happiness. And I'm making this journey spiritually, financially, all around to make me a more well-rounded person. But I'm still a human being. I'm still a human being. And this is the journey that I'm taking. And, anybody who's, in my circle who brings any type of negative energy will quickly be out of my circle. Join the journey or start one of your own. It's that simple. No matter what happens, God's got your back just as much as he's got my back. So with that being said, now that I've gotten the life portion out the way, let's get to it. Oh, it feels so good to say that. I ain't even gonna lie. Got me getting all deep in shit at the beginning of the show and shit. But we're gonna start off with the NF for the L. Like I said, I feel so bad that I haven't been doing this show more frequently. And we're almost at the midway point of the damn season. I mean, that's a trip. But nonetheless, there's still a lot of questions. Like, if this has been a crazy season, as we say all the time, every season is a crazy season. This has been a crazy season, because what we have started to see, what we've seen from the NBA, as far as all of this player empowerment and all that other good stuff, we're starting to see that in the NFL. Biatch. We really are, because, this has been a trip. But before I get into all that, let's get into some standings, okay? We got some catching up to do. So I'm going to, do this as best as I can without taking up too much of people's time. But trust me, I think this should be entertaining. So let's start off with the AFC. All right, the AFC, the number one team right now, the number one seed. Is only two undefeated teams left, and one of them is the Patriots. No! What else is new? I'm sure I'm not the only person who's probably sick and damn tired of the New England Patriots, sick and damn tired of Tom Shady, and sick and damn tired of Bill Belichick. We are sick and tired of you. Will somebody take Tom Brady the fuck out? Take his knees. I'm just playing. Kind of. But for real. But they're 6-0. But I have to address that. They're 6-0. They have the number one ranked defense right now. And, they're getting all the praise. They're getting it done. And, Tom Brady hasn't really looked Tom Brady-ish. It really has been the defense carrying the day. But it's only October. Tom Brady gets in the gear when it matters the most. But while a lot of people are saying, oh, New England is having a historic defense, let me inform you of the teams that they have played. They played the Pittsburgh Steelers, who unfortunately suffered some tragic injuries, season-ending injuries to Ben Roethlisberger. Mason Rudolph got put to sleep against the Ravens. So the Steelers are in effect done. The Steelers are 2-4, so they've beaten the Pittsburgh Steelers. They beat the Miami Dolphins. Now, the Miami Dolphins are the equivalent of a high school team right now. They are 0-6. They're 0-5, excuse me.
You
They
suck.
beat the New York Jets. The New York Jets, who just got their first win of the season just this past Sunday against the Dallas Cowboys. Sorry, fuckers. But the Jets are 1-4. And then they've beaten the Washington Redskins, the New York Giants. The Washington Redskins just got their first win of the season this past weekend over the winless Miami Dolphins in the Who Gives a Damn We're Terrible Bowl. They beat the New York Giants. The Giants won 2 straight after Eli Manning got benched. But Daniel Jones, with little to work with, has started to look like a rookie. They're 2-4. The one team that the New England Patriots have beaten that have been worth anything, and I mean anything at all, has been the surprising 4-1 Buffalo Bills. So when we sit here and we say the Patriots defense is the best in the league, and statistically speaking, it is on a historic level, you ain't beat nobody.
Biatch.
You have played. If this was any other team, we wouldn't be lauding them the way that we are. But because it's the Patriots and they're the defending Super Bowl champions, of course you got to give them their props. But I'm sorry, I'm not impressed with wins over the Steelers, who are trash, Dolphins, who are trash, Jets, who are trash, Redskins and Giants, who are trash. And then you have a Monday Night Football game against the New York Jets, who did again just beat the Dallas Cowboys. They did just get Sam Darnold back, who missed a month of the season with mono. I mean, that's just strange. They got the Jets. Then they have the Browns, who with all of that hype and all of that talk have been honestly a flaming disappointment. The reason why they're still in play is because their schedule has been brutal at the beginning, and their schedule definitely lightens up near the end. We don't start seeing some real teams with some players that can put some pressure on that defense until, I would say, the first weekend in November when they're at Baltimore. And then you're at Philadelphia. And then Dallas comes to you. Then you're at Houston, Deshaun Watson. Then you have Kansas City, Patrick Mahomes. So you're going to have about a 5 or 6 game stretch. Yeah, about a 5 game stretch. And Cleveland, they're as up as Jekyll and Hyde as they are. You never know with them. So you're going to have a 5 or 6 game stretch where that defense is going to get tested. We're going to see what they about. In November, we're going to see what the Patriots defense is about. Excuse me. Now, so yes, New England is 6-0. The only undefeated team in the AFC. After that, you got Baltimore leading in the AFC North at 4-2. Houston, who just got a big win at Kansas City, who was 4-2, and that put the Chiefs at 4-2. So there's not much separation. There's a 2-game separation lead as far as the Patriots go from everybody else, but seeds 2 through 6 is kind of up in the air. So the AFC is looking very interesting because the Chiefs have lost 2 straight. The Oakland Raiders are actually a surprise at 3-2. Excuse me. The Colts. We all thought that the Colts would absolutely be trash once Andrew Luck abruptly retired, but Jacoby Brissett is a good quarterback. They went into Arrowhead and just ran the ball down the Chiefs' throat. They're 3-2. You have to pay attention to them. Again, Buffalo is 4-1. Buffalo is 4-1, and they have a very solid defense too. I'm not totally sold on Buffalo. They have to keep winning, but their defense is legit. I'm not totally sold on that offense. I think that they need a big-time receiver. I think that they should definitely try to go in the A.J. Green sweepstakes or possibly Keenan Allen. Because I think they need that legit weapon on the outside. Their defense is for real, but the offense, again, has a lot left to be desired. The Bengals are finished. The Bengals don't even have a win.
You suck.
The Jacksonville Jaguars, they're 2-4. They just traded Jalen Ramsey. I'm going to get into that once I get done with the rest of the league discussions. Tennessee Titans just benched Marcus Mariota for Ryan Tannehill. I don't see what the big difference is. Ryan Tannehill just averaged about 165 yards passing his last 8 games as a Miami Dolphin, but the Titans are just boring. I mean, honestly, they are the most exciteless offense in the NFL, honestly. I think the one surprise team that has really nosedived has been the Los Angeles Chargers. There was Super Bowl expectations. They've had a few injuries, but it looks like Phillip Rivers is starting to be around that washed-up stage. They're 2-4. It seems like any magic that they had from last season is completely gone. It seems like it is completely gone. My Denver Broncos are 2-4.
Aw, crap.
Ain't this about a bitch?
Damn it!
But I will say this, though. We started off the season 0-4, and out of those 4 losses, 2 really, really, really gut-wrenching losses. Week 2 at home against Chicago, where we were robbed because of a BS pass interference, a BS roughing the passer call on Bradley Chubb. And then we lose at the horn to Jacksonville. And I'm like, damn. So then after the Jacksonville loss, Elway says if we keep losing, everybody's going to be on the trading block except for Von Miller. We might as well just blow it up and start it over again. And I was just like, no, don't do it. Because we have a good team. We just needed to figure out how to finish off games. Now, you start 0-4, it may be too late. Season may be over. But we play tomorrow night, Thursday Night Football, against the Kansas City Chiefs. Chiefs who've lost 2 straight. Patrick Mahomes is a little banged up. If we can win that game, and it's in Denver, we in play. Not necessarily saying winning the division, because I do think that the Chiefs will get their act together, particularly once they get healthy. But I'm looking at this wild card scenario because we have a very good defense, and Joe Flacco has not played bad at all, contrary to what anybody might believe. But that's the AFC. The NFC, only undefeated team left in the NFC is, wait for it, San Francisco? The 49ers are undefeated? Huh? It's true. 49ers have a hellacious defense. I'm more impressed with the 49ers defense than I am the Patriots. I'm just being honest with you. I'm more impressed with their defense than anything that New England has got to put out. Richard Sherman, who's now on the other side, he's now with the Niners. And now that they're getting some attention, he's back to being Richard Sherman, talking shit, calling everybody out. Hey, whatever gets you going. They're 5-0. Seattle in the same division is 5-1. People really need to start appreciating Russell Wilson for the amazing, amazing quarterback that he is. He does not get enough attention. We always talk about Brady, Breeze, Rodgers, and then you go to the young guns, Mahomes and Carson Wentz, Jared Goff, Deshaun Watson, and a lot of them deservedly so, especially Deshaun Watson. I think he's been overlooked because of Mahomes. We just beat Mahomes head-to-head last Sunday in Kansas City. But Russell Wilson, if they gave out the MVP today, I would have to say it was Russell Wilson. Because even though the 49ers and Patriots are undefeated, their defenses are carrying the day. Their defenses are really carrying the day. Now, if I had to go coach of the year right now, I'd have to say New Orleans, Sean Payton, because Drew Brees went out, messed up ligaments in his thumb, week 2. Saints haven't lost a game since he's been out. Teddy Bridgewater, who everybody thought was pretty much done. I mean, it's hard to be washed up when you're 26 years old. 27 years old. What Teddy Bridgewater to me has done, and the Saints are 5-1, leading their division. What Teddy Bridgewater has done, I think, could possibly be the reason why Sean Payton stays in New Orleans after Drew Brees retires. Because what he's seeing is that he has a quarterback that he can run this offense. May not be the dynamic go down the field offense, even though when they played the Buccaneers, Teddy Bridgewater went off 4 touchdowns, and he was going down the field with success. One of Teddy Bridgewater's best attributes coming out of Louisville was his accuracy, and he is showing it, and they're 5-1. The Green Bay Packers, who just got a gift victory given to them by the referees on Monday Night Football. I'll tell you, the referees have been awful this season. They have been awful. The Detroit Lions got hosed Monday night, period. Point blank, period. And the Detroit Lions, even though they're 2-1, they are a damn good team. They're a damn better team than their record would indicate. Even though I know you are what your record says, and their record says that they're average. They got hosed. They got hosed at Green Bay. But be that as it may, the Packers are 5-1. They're on top in the NFC North. The Minnesota Vikings, after they had some in-house drama, Adam Thielen calls out Kirk Cousins. Stephon Diggs calls out Kirk Cousins, wants to be traded. Since then, the Vikings have responded with 2 straight victories, and Kirk Cousins has looked pretty damn good. And like I said last year, he better. Fully guaranteed contract. The hell is wrong with you? Even though that was the dumbest contract that I think that anybody could give out.
Oh, hell
Kirk
no.
Cousins, give it time. He'll fuck it up. And in the NFC East, it is a tie. The NFC East, which is looking to be the worst division in professional football, comes with the most covered and dramatized teams. The Philadelphia Eagles are 3-3, and the Dallas Cowboys, they're 3-3. Now, when I say you're 3-3 and headed in totally different directions, I mean, let me tell you. Let me give you an example. For one, the Philadelphia Eagles, if the Philadelphia Eagles receivers act like professional receivers, then the Eagles are 5-1 at best, at worst. Excuse me, they're 5-1 at worst. They've had injuries. Deshaun Jackson, he's got to get back on the field. He provides a deep threat that makes the offense awesome. You saw it in week 1 against the Redskins. Then on the defensive side, Fletcher Cox and Malik Jackson, Jernigan and Malik Jackson, they've got to get back on the field. But yet and still, they're 3-3. The Dallas Cowboys, however, oh my goodness, if you had seen Cowboy fans poking out their nuts after week 3. Oh my goodness, we're 3-0, and Dak should be an MVP, and Zeke is worth the money, and oh, look at our defense, and blah, yada, look at them linebackers. Let me remind you that Dallas Cowboys beat the New York Giants with Eli Manning, which is a handicap match. They beat the Washington Redskins. They just fired their coach and just got their first win over the next team that the Cowboys beat, the hopeless Miami Dolphins. So you got wins against teams that combine record. They have 3 wins. 3 wins. I mean, let's do the math. Let's do the math here. 3-14. The Dallas Cowboys combined record for the teams that they've beaten is 3-14. Get the fuck out of here. And as soon as they took a step up in competition, they played the Saints at New Orleans without Drew Brees. They lost. Aaron Rodgers came to Dallas and did what Aaron Rodgers does, bitches them. They lost. And then last week lost to the New York Jets, who didn't even have a win. How about them odds? Shut up. Oh. But I will say this. They play Sunday night in Jerry World, and I hope Carson Wentz light that ass up. I really do. The Giants, they're done. The Redskins, they're a step above the Dolphins. Yeah, they are. They won. They beat the Dolphins by 1 point on a failed 2-point conversion. So let's not. I mean, come on now. Surprising teams in the NFC, obviously, is the San Francisco 49ers. The Carolina Panthers, because Cam Newton hasn't played since week 2, and they haven't lost. There was thoughts that Ron Rivera's job was on the line. They got off to an 0-2 start, and now they're 4-2. Tampa Bay, because, Jameis Winston is like such a tease. Because now you've got Bruce Arians with you, and through, I would say, the first 4 weeks of the season, we were seeing the improvement in Jameis Winston. Then it's like he just goes right back to, I don't know. He goes right back to, doing the dumb stuff. I don't know, because, he's on his last leg in Tampa. His contract's up after this year. And the same thing with Mariota. And let me ask a quick question. Say the season that the Bucks and the Titans are having continues to be pretty much the same, which is no playoffs, probably 5-11, 6-10 record. Do you think that Jameis Winston and Marcus Mariota are done as starting quarterbacks in the NFL? I mean, because me personally, I think that Marcus Mariota will be. Jameis Winston, not so much, because Jameis Winston has shown that he can make all the requisite throws, and that he's, and you see it there with Jameis, but you're like, what is it going to take to bring it out? Marcus Mariota is just too damn safe. I mean, he's more safe than, he plays more conservative than Alex Smith, and I mean, damn. But I think Jameis will, and when I say he's done being a starter, I'm talking about the next team that they go to, they're getting that quarterback to be the guy to be their quarterback coming into the next season. I think Jameis will get that chance. I think Marcus Mariota, he will be brought on the same way Ryan Tannehill was brought on to Tennessee, as a backup, with the chance to compete for a starting job, but really be a backup, and maybe should injury or bad play bring him in there, then you may be the starter. But I think Mariota's time is being viewed as a franchise quarterback. I think he's done. I mean, I loved every minute of how pathetic he looked in Denver last week, but I mean, that was because he was playing Denver. So yeah, Tampa, yeah, that's disappointing. Atlanta's 1-5. Atlanta is 1-5. You're talking about a team that's got Matt Ryan, who was the MVP just 3 years ago. Julio Jones, who's now, I believe, the highest paid receiver in the league. They got a big extension right before the season started. You got Devontae Freeman, you got Hooper, you got Sanu, you got Ridley. They're 1-5. I think Dan Quinn is about to go. I think he is done. And the Rams, the Los Angeles Rams, the defending NFC champions, who started off the season 3-0. They have lost 3 straight. San Francisco's defense just annihilated them. Jared Goff didn't even have 100 yards passing in the game that just happened this past Sunday. I mean, the 49ers just laid it on him. And the Rams are in trouble. They are in trouble, which leads me to the next topic. The Rams yesterday traded Marcus Peters. They put Aqib Talib on injury reserve. They traded Marcus Peters to the Ravens. And then hit everybody with the blockbuster. They traded for Jacksonville's superstar cornerback and honestly the best defensive back in the league, Jalen Ramsey, for a couple first-round picks, a fourth-round pick. I mean, Jacksonville got a good ransom for Ramsey. Jalen Ramsey, who has been disgruntled probably since about week 2, just straight up didn't want to play there anymore. He did not want to play there anymore. He was at odds, they say, with the coach, but I think it was more or less Tom Coughlin. Jalen Ramsey made it perfectly known that he wanted an extension. He's seeing people from his draft class, which is Ezekiel Elliott, Jared Goff, Carson Wentz, get all of these big-time extensions, and he was drafted number 5 overall. He's been the best cornerback in football, and he wants his money. And Tom Coughlin was more or less like, F you. You're under contract, and you're going to play it out, boy. I don't know if it was like that. But, yeah. So Jalen Ramsey came up with every excuse in the book to not be on the field. First, his girl's having a baby. Then he having back issues. And then it was always something. It was just clear. He didn't want to be there. You ain't going to pay the man. You ain't going to show him. You ain't going to put no respect on his name. He want to leave. So the Rams are in trouble because Todd Gurley doesn't seem to be right. And if he's not right, then they're just trying to do some load management, which it's not getting you anywhere right now. Jared Goff does not look like the player that he did last year. And the Rams, they keep going. The Rams won't have a first-round pick until the 2022 draft. The Rams have traded to get superstar after superstar. I understand they have a new stadium coming. They want the glitz and the glamour. You got Goff under a big contract. You got Gurley under a big contract. You have Brandon Cooks under a big contract. You got Aaron Donald and Dante Fowler. They're all under big contracts. And now, while Jalen Ramsey hasn't got the extension that he's looking for, they're saying they're looking to work on one. You better lock this brother up because Aqib Talib is getting up there. They're saying that he can't run anymore. And if there's a rib issue, I don't know if he'll be able to come back this season, but that would be pretty imposing if the Rams can get their act together. And you have Ramsey on one side and Talib on the other. That could be very imposing. And you do have Eric Weddle now in that backfield. So the Rams definitely have a lot of work to do because, you're not, you may not win the division, but you may not even make the playoffs because San Francisco's starting to run away with this. Well, they're not starting to run away with it, but they're starting to run away from you. They're 5-0. Seattle's 5-1. Both teams have victories over you already. So you have the Falcons coming up. You have the Falcons coming up next. And, talking about a disappointment. Then you have the Bengals. That should be a win. You have the Steelers. That should be a win. But there are two games in mid to late November, Chicago and Baltimore. Ain't no guarantees there. And they're both in Los Angeles. That don't mean nothing. You're at Arizona. Kyler Murray is improving. You have to beat Seattle. You're at Dallas. And then you're at San Francisco. And then you have the Cardinals to close out the season. That's tough sledding. The Rams better get it together because, like I said, the division may be out of their reach. I guess you hope that Seattle and San Francisco kind of will beat up on each other and then lose a game here or there and you can get hot. But you might not make the playoffs because you look at these teams right now, it looks like one team is going to come out the NFC East. Well, possibly. No team is under 500 in the NFC North. Everybody is 500 or better in that entire division. And you got the Saints and the Panthers who are hot right now. And you only get 2 wild card spots. There's only 2 wild card spots. So it's very interesting. Very interesting. But what Jalen Ramsey does do, Jalen Ramsey to me will fit in perfect with Wade Phillips' style of defense. I wish we had never let him go. But what makes Wade Phillips' defense so successful is the ability to have cover corners, lockdown corners, because then he can send his front 7. He can send them right at the quarterback. That's why we won the Super Bowl in 2015. By we, I'm talking about the Denver Broncos. Because at that point in time, you had the best cornerback duo in the league. You had the no-fly zone. You had Talib, Chris Harris, T.J. Ward, Darian Stewart. You weren't throwing on them. And then you can tell Von Miller and DeMarcus Ware, pin your ears back, get them. You can tell Malik Jackson and Derek Wolfe, get them. Well, he needs that. So with Jalen Ramsey in there, even though Talib is out, hey, you can tell Dante Fowler, get him. You can tell Clay Matthews, get him. You can tell Aaron Donald, get him. And that truly will showcase Jalen Ramsey's talent because he is the best cover cornerback in football. You can make a case for Gilmore and Patrick Peterson, but Jalen Ramsey's it, and he's younger than those guys as well. So I think that was a big move for the Rams. You can tell that they are still all in, that they believe that they can still get to another Super Bowl. And I think this is a move that had to be made. Personally, I would have liked to see Jalen Ramsey go to the Philadelphia Eagles because they really need it. They really, really need it in their secondary. But I guess that's the way things work. So off of Jalen Ramsey, let me get into the NBA. Season starts next week. Damn. Yep. The NBA season starts next week. And all that's been talked about over the last, I'd say about 2 weeks, is the Houston Rockets general manager Daryl Morey making comments about, I guess, what's going on in Hong Kong while the NBA was doing, their preseason tour in China. And I think he sent out a tweet that said free Hong Kong or something. And the Chinese people and the government have absolutely they've felt some type of way. They truly felt some type of way, and it's put into jeopardy their $1 billion deal with China. I didn't realize how much revenue NBA players make from China. But at the same time, you're Daryl Morey, and you are exercising your right in this country of freedom of speech. That's what you're doing. I don't have a problem with that. To me, people are too damn sensitive anyway. So it's not really much, Adam Silver, the commissioner, it's not really much he can do outside of saying, hey, we don't share in his sentiment. But apparently it's just some awful things going on in China. The bottom line is what it comes down to is money. And some people will totally throw away their moral values for a buck, aka selling their soul, whatever, however you want to call it. But what wasn't fair is that the Chinese press was asking all of these NBA players that ain't have a damn thing to do with what Daryl Morey said, and it's kind of putting them into a compromising situation where it's kind of like, well, what do we say? Now, what makes this makes it really dicey for me, as far as I'm concerned, is I think what may have really hurt the feelings of the Chinese government is the organization that Daryl Morey works for. I'm not talking about the NBA, but the fact that the team that he works for, the Houston Rockets, the NBA and China got so tight because of who? Yao Ming. And who did Yao Ming spend his entire NBA career with? The Houston Rockets. The Houston Rockets even changed their uniforms to look more Chinese-like to cater to Yao Ming and to build the brand in China. And I think really that was the biggest gut punch, because, if it was one team, if you were to ask yourself, well, what's the NBA team that you would think about the most when you talk about the NBA in China, it would automatically be the Houston Rockets because of what I just said about Yao Ming. So I think that was the biggest gut punch. But then, just yesterday, LeBron James makes a comment on the situation, and that hasn't just alienated people in China. It alienated every damn body, to the point where yesterday or this morning, the people of China were burning his jerseys, defacing his pictures that they have in China. Hey, that's some shit. I mean, now LeBron ain't no stranger to getting his jersey burned. Fuck, they did it in Cleveland. But when you have that happen in another country, and I think because LeBron may have come across a bit hypocritical in his statements in regards to this matter involving the NBA, China, and Daryl Morey. Let's listen.
I don't want to get into a word or sentence feud with Daryl, Morey, but I believe he wasn't educated on the situation at hand, and he spoke, and so many people could have been harmed, not only financially but physically, emotionally, spiritually. So just be careful what we tweet and we say and what we do. Even though, yes, we do have freedom of speech, but there can be a lot of negative that comes with that too.
Okay, so a lot of, honestly, what he said, I don't disagree with. But I think what people are really having an issue with is the source that it's coming from. Because I have said on many, many occasions, and I don't think it's right, I've put it on Facebook a couple of times, is that freedom of speech comes with an asterisk. In this, especially in this country, because if you don't agree with what everybody else is agreeing with, even though you have the right to make an opinion, people want you exiled. And I think that that is bullshit. Personally, I think that that is just awful, because if that's the case, then what the hell do we have freedom of speech for if we can't have the freedom to say what the fuck we want and not be chastised and criticized and humiliated for it? Daryl Morey was basically making a comment as far as basically being a freedom fighter. Free Hong Kong. Apparently they have some gut-wrenching stuff going over there. I don't know. I ain't getting into it. I mean, I don't know exactly what's going on, because honestly, if somebody was asking me how I feel about that, that ain't my lane. Straight up. That's just what I tell them. That ain't my lane. I don't know enough about it to really even comment on it. Only thing is that I thought we had free speech. Pretty much. And I think the reason why people are coming at LeBron James is because he's obviously really just looking at the monetary potential loss that could affect his pockets and other players' pockets as well. But it kind of has you coming across a bit hypocritical, particularly when you in particular have been somebody who will speak on social justice issues. I think where he may have made a mistake at is commenting on this, and this ain't got nothing to do with America. You know, he has been very active and very vocal about things that is going on in this country as far as standing with Kaepernick, the Trayvon Martin incident. He's been very vocal about his support for justice, for justice for those who have been injustice, who's had injustice happen to them. And this one came across as he's just looking for the bag. You know, he's looking to secure his pockets, and he kind of sold the freedom and justice for all thing up the river, honestly, because I don't see what, honestly, if you ask me, you think Daryl Morey did something wrong? On his face, I would just say he just stated his opinion. Doesn't make him wrong. Didn't make him right. You know, I mean, so I think that's what people are having a big issue with LeBron, is that he's really being kind of hypocritical and contradicting himself on things that he has stood for the sake of money. That's why they say money is the root of all evil. You take away your moral values. And Daryl Morey just pretty much, his opinion was a moral opinion. And it seemed like LeBron James was more like, nah, check your morality at the door. We got $1 billion to make. And like I said, I agree with him when he said, even though we have freedom of speech, it comes at a cost. It does. But that's what's so ass backwards about this country. You know what the freedom of speech will free you from? Employment. I believe I've said that before on this show. And I think that's ridiculous. I think that is crazy. I think that makes absolutely no sense whatsoever. So LeBron then got himself into some hot water. He kind of tried to back off of it today with saying, I'm not going to talk about it anymore. And, that's just going to spark more debate. Well, why not, LeBron? You talk about everything else when it comes to social justice issues. You call the president a bum. You talked about the Trayvon Martin incident, and you did this and you did that. And, I mean, dude, if you weren't, I mean, if honestly, if you truly weren't aware of what was going on, and thinking about the statements that you're making, then maybe you could just, like I said, if it was me, I would have just kind of shut the fuck up. I'd have took the high road on that one. I'd just be like, this is not my lane. I don't really want to get into this topic because I don't know enough about it to comment on it. My lane is making sure I win a championship this year. So, I mean, I don't know. That's dicey, but it's been front page news when it comes to the world of sports because, I mean, China may be ready to back out. Like I said, I had no idea the amount of revenue that the NBA got from China. It's crazy. It really is crazy. So I'm pretty sure once the season starts and LeBron dunks over a couple of niggas and flexes, and especially if the Lakers are winning, then I'm pretty sure all of that stuff will blow over. Since the last time I did a podcast, one of our centers was DeMarcus Boogie Cousins. Damn shame. Dude tears his ACL in a pickup game, so he's out for the season. And then he has some domestic abuse stuff coming his way. I'm like, you talk about a guy that can't catch a break. And who do the Lakers bring back? Dwight Howard. Not just Dwight Howard, who's been on every team for the last couple of years, who went from superstar to journeyman to potential homosexual, and as far as TMZ is concerned. I mean, I just want him to be productive, but I just thought I'd throw that in there. But yeah, the NBA starts next week. It will be a Laker-Clippers showdown, and I'm really excited about basketball this season. I definitely am. Once I think the league gets into gear, I think this whole thing with China will just blow over. So, to the baseball diamond, and it is, like I said, what a wonderful time for sports. It is the League Championship Series. Unfortunately, I only got one to report on because the Washington Nationals just kicked the crap out of the St. Louis Cardinals in the National League Championship Series after they had a shocking comeback and a huge choke job by the Los Angeles Dodgers in Game 5 of their divisional series against the Nationals. But the Nationals are actually quite the story. They have awesome pitching. They started off the season 12 games under 500, I believe 19-31, and pretty much were left for dead. They lost their bell cow superstar, Bryce Harper, who left to go to the Philadelphia Phillies for a $330 million contract. And you talking about circling the wagon and rallying the troops. I mean, I've got nothing but props for the Nationals. And it's the first time in Nationals history that they're going to the World Series. So, shout out to them. It's quite a story, quite a turnaround. Definite big ups to the Nationals. Now, in the American League Championship Series, chalk walked. We expected Yankees, Astros, and that's what we got. The Yankees had a beautiful game 1, and I'm a Yankees fan, so I'm biased. Don't give a fuck. I am going to be straight up. Tanaka pitched a gem. The Yankees won 7-0. I said at the beginning of this series, because the Houston Astros have a team on top. The Houston Astros have a team on paper that you haven't really seen, a team that could be so dominant since the '98 Yankees. With Verlander and Greinke and Garrett Cole, who everybody's saying is the best pitcher in baseball. So I said from this series, I thought the Yankees needed to take both of them in Houston. I have a hard time believing that they're gonna, if it gets to a Game 7. Tonight's Game 4 was rained out. They won Game 1. They should have won Game 2. They lost in extra innings, and then Garrett Cole came on the mound in Game 3 and shut shit down. So the Astros are leading 2-1. With the rain out, if the series does go 7 games, it'll be played the rest of this week. Game 4 is tomorrow. Game 5 is Friday. Game 6, if necessary, is Saturday. Game 7, if necessary, is Sunday. So I hope these guys are getting their rest, getting some ass or something to have they mind at ease, because they got they work cut out for them. And my New York Yankees better get it done. They better get it done. So that's all I'm going to talk about on the baseball front. I'm just about done. But I got a story. It came to my phone that the Cleveland Browns star defensive lineman, Myles Garrett, apparently a fan flagged down Myles Garrett to take a picture of him. So they took the picture, and then the fan punched Myles Garrett in the face. And then he got in his car and drove off. The fan did. I mean, I don't mean to laugh, but like, that's so stupid. Like, that's just one of those moments where you look at that guy and you're like, whoever the fan is like, why did you do that? Why did you do that? I don't fucking know, bro. The fucker had it coming. I don't get it. I just don't get it. You take a picture with this man, you punch him in the face, and then you run. And the sad part is, if Myles Garrett had chased him down and whooped his ass like he should have, the top headline of the story is Myles Garrett kicks the crap out of a fan. And then he'd have been put on a commissioner's exempt list and said he needs counseling and stuff like that. But you should have a right to defend yourself. I just think, like, that's so dumb. It's funny to me. It really is. That is so dumb. It is funny to me. It really is. I just thought I'd share that with you guys. But with that being said, where a buzzer, what a buzzer, what a buzzer, what a buzzer. Oh, I'm sorry. I know my sense of humor might not gel with everybody else, but fuck you.
Biatch.
I'm just playing. I mean, because like I said, that's just so dumb. Okay, but anyway, oh my goodness, I swear, I don't worry. Sports Plus Life will be coming to you more regular. I also have these Sports Plus Life quickies on YouTube. It's just me giving my opinion about things that's going on. But again, this is your host, Brandon Brevon Towns. Again, if you a first time listener, definitely hit that subscribe button. I'm gonna get back at you. Peace.